Yeah, if you missed the market taking off like a rocket ship this past week after the Fed, don't worry. It's going to come back to you. Check out this week's video to see where I'm looking at taking action. Just a reminder that all the materials we do present are for training purposes. Traders should always paper trade any new method by the risk of their own personal capital. And past performance is no indication or promise of future performance. So let's go ahead and look at the indexes. And let's start here with this S&P. Not to be surprised that the S&P is in fact selling off from its rally. I mean, this was a heck of a nice rally over the last 3 days, all stimulated by Jerome Powell's comments and dovish comments. So how do you want to trade it from here? One of the things that I'm looking at, folks, is that we had a breakout above this level of resistance right here. So that level of resistance up at the top there at about the 462 area goes into what we call reverse polarity and becomes support on any kind of pullback. So look for a pullback down into close to that level at the 462. I would put an alert on the spiders if you're trading the spiders up at about 463, but don't, start running to buy too quickly. Wait for it to do a pullback, maybe between the 8 and the 20, which is going to be right about that number right there. Because look what's over here. The high from 2022, we're close to it, but we haven't gone through it yet. The momentum has definitely shifted up to the upside. And I want to highlight one thing I use the market forecast, and we've got some folks working on being able to get the market forecast. We can actually use it on TradingView if you do use TradingView. And whenever the market forecast green line, that's the intermediate momentum line, goes into a formation like this, where it's just driving sideways, hardly budging at all, that is a very strong indication that the market is going to continue to blast up to the upside, which is totally awesome. When that happens, we look to the TSI to be our shorter term momentum and look for pullbacks into support areas and then a bounce higher from there. Same thing over here on the weeklies. Occasionally when the TSI, when the market forecast gets above the 80 line up here, it can stay up there for weeks on end. So I'm looking for this to be a basic pullback to around this zone here, and then a bounce going into the end of the year. Look for that to happen really quickly within the next 3 to 5 days, and then rally on into the end of the year. How's our buddy Nasdaq doing? The Nasdaq is also, again, absolutely beautiful pattern, folks. Is Nasdaq has pushed its way up into this resistance zone. Let's see if we can take a look over this to the right just a little bit, and that highlights the high from last year. We're not quite there yet, but that high there is at 408.71, and that was the high for November 2021. So we've actually done a complete round trip now over the last 2+ years to get back up to the same resistance area. When that happens, don't be surprised to see a profit taking take place. And why? It's because the buyers over here, you've heard me say this before, the buyers that were buying right here at this top over here, some of them are still hanging around going, get me out of this trade breaking even the best you can. And so they'll be looking to start selling in here. That may be what we're seeing right now, as we see a hanging man from yesterday, a shooting star from today, which are bearish reversal signals. However, I'm looking for a similar type thing, pull back into approximately the 392 level, And I would go up just a little bit to put an alert. I would put an alert at about, let's say 395. And then if that triggers at 395, that would give me my clue to go ahead and try to get into a trade once we had the proper setup. So that's what I've got going for the Qs. And of course, when I do talk about the Qs, I'm looking at also trading the TQQ or SQQ on that. Russell, from what I'm seeing, Anil, Russell has got more or less a green light to rally on with the Fed looking at reducing rates going into next year. We've had one heck of a rally off the bottom at 161 up to 196, almost up to actually up to $200. We're getting a bearish reversal signal today, a bearish engulfing. What should we expect? Well, I think what we should expect is a pullback, big level of nice support there, pull back towards the breakout area, and that could be as low as 188.50 to 189 in this level here, across there, or it could just be down to the lower level of this past resistance zone, because that whole zone now kind of turns into a level of past support. And right there, let me give you a number. About the 193 level would give you an opportunity to, you want to get an alert in there at, let's say, 194. And if price actions get to that level, that's where I want to start paying attention, looking for a reversal signal in that area. So, cool. And so welcome aboard over there on the YouTube channel, and just let me know where you're in from. We got somebody in from South Korea, and where are you watching the video at? So right now, Anil, I'm not going to take a short position or a long position in the inverse leverage ETFs, because I think a pullback will be short-lived. It is extended away from its 20-day moving average. And so I'm going to patiently wait the 3 to 5 days for a pullback to take place, and then look at getting into TNA or TQQ. So what's your thoughts on the
overall on my system, on Nasdaq or Dow or S&P or Russell, everything has a weekly buy signal in action.
Okay, cool.
And when there's a weekly buy signal, there's a good probability it's going to hang on. It will have some pullbacks, but I don't think the weekly buy signal is going to be affected too much. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
Okay, so you'll be looking for a pullback then?
Yes, I'll be looking on the daily charts, and I see a pullback on the daily. That'd be a good thing to get in.
Oh, excellent. Okay. So, Anil, let's go ahead and jump over and take a look now at what we have coming up next. And that, of course, is our stock picks. But before we get there, I just wanted to let you know that we're back above the 40% level. We had a couple of trades that just kicked in this week really nicely. And so very pleased with what we're doing. I'm really happy about a couple of trades like CrowdStrike and ZS. Both of them are up close. One of them's up over 50%, and then the other one is up over 40%. And so we're really pleased with how well those picks are doing. So this is called a face-to-face trading tips. If you have a question you would like us to answer, please shoot me an email. But today, the questions that we have are: one, the first trade gets stopped out, like happened with 4 for you, but you still want to, get into the stock because you think you really have a conviction about it, that it can do well, it's got good gradings. So what are the 3 things you take into consideration before you place your order to get back in?
Basically, these days, what I'm looking for is accumulation distribution.
So you can get back in without being afraid of what might happen?
Yeah, it's just like Lee Tanner says that I get in, I just follow my rules.
There you go.
My rules will take care of me.
And that, that's one of the things that fear and uncertainty are the two fuels that I think that I think fire up poor trading habits, and part of the way to get around fear and uncertainty is as traders, ask yourself the question, if I take this trade, which is it fueling? Am I more afraid, fearful, or am I more uncertain? And what that'll oftentimes stem back to is you don't have a written plan. You don't have a winning plan, a trading plan all laid out like Anil just talked about. He's just going to trade his plan, and his plan say, hey, I've got another trigger, get me into and I still believe this stock is going to do well. So he's still working within his plan, which is very, very important. Yeah. My simple thing on if I'm stopped out of something and I want to get back into it, Anil, I just basically wait for another technical setup. If the fundamentals are still in place and all that kind of stuff, I just say, okay, fine. Because oftentimes what you find is price actions will move up and start hitting off of higher support. And so that's what I have to take into consideration. So
Sure.
Excellent. Next question. Darn it. We missed the Fed announcement and that huge rally in the stock market. And we're kicking ourselves in the rear because, oh gosh, why didn't we get in? Well, what are 3 things that you do to make sure you're kind of like not beating yourself up too much if you've supposedly missed the move?
I kind of look at, again, my triple screen system. I've spent years and years looking at that. And also look at, for example, on QQQ, a weekly signal is in progress for a while. If I even look at the long-term scenario, and if I do back testing on it, on a weekly signal, the batting average is about 60% and risk reward is about 7. So with that kind of information, even if I missed out the current rally, I'd probably looking for a buy on a pullback.
Okay, cool. And so, but again, you're not beating yourself up, right?
No.
Just because and so, yeah, mine's very similar. It gets back to what my old mentor, I shouldn't call him old mentor, he was younger than I am, but what my trading mentor said to me many years ago when I'd be impatient about, or I would get upset because prices would run away from me, or I'd miss the trigger in the trade. And, one of the things is, if you're trading, you're going to miss triggers. That's the way it is. You're going to miss entries by a nickel because the market maker's messing with you. That's just the way it is. And what Dave used to tell me, he said very specifically, he said, Dennis, the best trade of the year comes around about every 2 to 3 weeks. So be patient. And I've tried to practice and implement that in my trading. And let me tell you, if I know it's going to come, because just look at the ebbs and flow in the chart. It's telling you it's going to come back. It's going to come back, guys. And so, well, that's trading tips, face-to-face trading tips. Hey, leave a comment in the just let me know what you think about this feature. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel and let other people know about it, because I enjoy doing this kind of stuff. Continue to remind yourself, especially going into the end of the year, that trading success isn't built overnight. It's built by a step-by-step process. And this is ancient trading wisdom from the ancient trader. Again, I want to thank everybody who did order the book. It is both it's in print now on Amazon, and also if you just want the e-version, you can get that from our website. It is ranked really high and continues to get 5-star ratings on Amazon. If you have a copy of the book and read it, please go over to Amazon and leave a comment. And I'll put the link down in the video, in the description on how you can get either the print copy or the e-copy